Assalamu alaikum guys, and welcome to another episode of Smile to Jannah. Before we jump into it, let's fulfill our obligation and make sure that we donate to the victims of the Morocco earthquake. I'm collecting with one ummah who have a 100% donation policy, link in the description. Alright guys, so let's react to this video of anti-prophet.
However, if you take a deeper look into why hijabs and body coverings were introduced in the first place, you realize they were probably a pretty good idea. Back in the day, women were used as currency. If one of your sons killed the son of one of your neighbors could demand that you send over your sister so that they could have their way with her and create a new life for the life that was taken. It was driven by lust, and it fucked women over in Europe and Africa for centuries. But the Arabs saw this and were like, yeah, that, and they decided to take lust out of the equation entirely as a way to protect women from becoming a currency. And they did that by introducing the hijab. Now, is it the year 1134 anymore, and do we need to be worried about women being traded around like dollar bills? Largely no, which makes the hijab oppressive.
Right, so this is an individual who is currently staying in Indonesia, so maybe he has more interactions with Muslims and he's looking into Islam. Unfortunately and sadly, he has made a couple of blunders in this video. The first is the assumption that the hijab has come from other than the central texts of Islam, i.e. the Quran and the Hadith. I have not heard of that origin ever. It's not mentioned in the Islamic literature, so it would be good to know where you got that origin story from, because even the secular historians, I haven't come across them mentioning it either. That being said, people make the argument that you are told to wear the hijab. Yeah, you're told to wear the hijab, but I would retort by saying you are also told not to wear the hijab.
Gotcha.
Difference is we're told by an all-loving, all-knowing, all-wise, most merciful, most kind being, but you are told by a society that is run by soulless, profit-driven entities. Who is better to listen to? God, who knows us better than we know ourselves, or soulless, profit-driven entities? I think I will opt for God. Secondly, are you really making the claim that women aren't traded anymore and or sexually used anymore? Because I would say this is inaccurate, because there are so many modern day examples where women are being abused. In fact, a YouGov poll here in the UK stated that 4 in 5 women have been sexually abused. We know the pornography industry is one of the biggest industries right now. We know women are being forced onto OnlyFans, being forced into roles in which they have to display their body to get ahead, not to mention the exploitative use of female bodies in the advertising and fashion industry, amongst others. Forcing little girls to wear skirts when they go to school and mutilate their bodies if they think they are a different gender, persuaded by creepy school teachers. And another point I want to mention is, if you make the claim that hijab is oppression, well, hijab privatizes your sexuality. Oppression, on the other hand, is the taking away of power. Bearing this in mind, are you saying that a woman is only powerful if she displays herself in public?
And might I add, haha.
And that's not even mentioning the scores of research that prove that women's hair have sexual value. In one study, it says that women's hair signals reproductive potential. In another, hair color of women affects attractiveness. Now let's get into logic mode. So, the anti-prophet's argument can be expressed as such. If women are traded to settle a score, then hijab protects women. Women are not traded to settle a score, therefore hijab is oppressive. Now this is not a valid argument, nor is it sound. It falls into the fallacy of denying the antecedent. This is how it's structured. If A, then B. Not A, therefore not B. Firstly, just because A isn't true doesn't mean B isn't true either. For example, if it's sunny, then the ground is dry. Today is not sunny, therefore the ground is not dry. This doesn't hold true because the ground can be dry for other reasons besides the absence of sunlight. And secondly, the conclusion doesn't follow, as there are other reasons hijab protects women and was used. Some of which I've mentioned, i.e. obligation from God, modesty, protection, etc.